Alright, so we have a pair of Lucchese 2000 roper boots. And Lucchese calls this color black cherry. And you can see it's like a really, really dark burgundy. I'm hoping the camera can pick up that color. Really pretty color here. But the roper style usually has it's not a really tall boot. It's got a walking heel on it. Doesn't have that really tall cowboy riding type heel. These are a really comfortable boot. So anyways, we got these in and I'm going to clean these up, and you can tell from these pictures that they're just really beat up, and that comes from normal wear. So you can see here they will definitely need a good makeover, and I'm just going to go through step by step on how I would clean these. So I'm going to leave links down below on some of the items that I've used, so you can visit them there. Okay, so these boots, one thing I always want to check is see if there's any unevenness along the edge of the sole, the midsole here. There's a couple things, and what I'd like to use is a really fine grit sandpaper, and what we're going to do is even that out. I know that sounds pretty harsh, but I'm taking very little off and just sanding it down. So you can see right here there's some from the looks of it, it looks like I'm taking quite a bit off, but I'm really not. It's just that really outer edge. Get that smoothed down. Everything looks good here, right here on the back of the. And you can see I'm taking a lot of the dressing off, but that really doesn't matter. The whole purpose is to get this really smooth down to making it look nice, and then I'm going to go ahead and color it at the end. In certain cases, on a really high-end pair of boots, you'll notice on some of my future videos I'll probably do it, but I'll end up putting walk-on paint on the bottom of the sole. This one I'm not going to do that, but if I were to do that, I would lightly sand the bottom of the leather sole just to make it look very even. But this one I'm not going to do that. It looks good enough. So to clean up this part though, I am going to remove some of that dirt buildup right here. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other one. And you can see how dirty these things are. If you look right in here, there's just a lot of dirt built up in here along the stitching. You want to be careful not to get on the uppers at all with the sandpaper. That's very important. All right, so everything is looking good. You can see a little bit of a scuff mark right here, and that will show through after we do it. So I'm going to even this out. Just like that. So just kind of spot check it. And these will look good after I'm done. One thing that I want to do before I clean these up is any of these loose stitching I want to go ahead and remove. This isn't really that bad, but just to show you what I do, you can see here. And you want to make sure heat rises, so you don't want to burn it like so. You want to just kind of angle it to where you could remove those just like that. So I'm going to do the same thing on this one. like that. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and put these boots on the mounts, and we will start with the saddle soap. So before I saddle soap them, what I'm going to do is go ahead and clean that welt right where that stitching is, and as you can see, it is pretty bad. It looks really good. So I don't want to use any real harsh cleaners because I'm going to be working right next to that upper leather. So what I like to use on just about everything is Easy Cleaner. So what I do here is I dilute it with water. So let's go ahead and run a little bit of water here. And I like to use these brushes right here. These brushes work so much better than like a toothbrush for this job. I see a lot of people using a toothbrush right here, and a toothbrush works, but the time that you save with this brush, you could get it done a lot faster. Now in these videos you'll see it takes me a long time, and the reason is because I'm showing you how to do it, but in reality I could clean these boots fairly fast. So that's why I recommend these brushes. So I'm going to go ahead and wet this brush. Go ahead and get that solution on here. And it's a very soft bristle brush, so I'm not going to worry about messing up the upper. And the Easy Cleaner is a very friendly cleaner, and if you get it on the upper, that's not a problem whatsoever. And I know the camera's not picking it up, but there is a lot of dirt coming off the bottom of these. Alright, so this one is done. Since it was really dirty, I'm going to just do one more quick pass. Let me go ahead and grab the other one now. The Easy Cleaner is about $8 a bottle, and to make it last, before you dip your brush back into the solution, it's best to just go ahead and rinse it off, get all the dirt off, to where then you could go ahead and clean a couple pairs of boots without having to change out that cleaner. So. Now I could tell these boots weren't really that muddy, so that's telling me that a lot of this dirt that I'm removing is just a bunch of dust buildup. Okay, so for the first step, what I'm going to do is saddle soap these. And with saddle soap, this really helps release a lot of that surface dirt and grime on the leather. So what I do is I get my little horsehair dauber brush, hit it in the water, get a good lather going, and just apply it on here. I'm covering the whole boot here. And I could tell these aren't that dirty. I'm going to go ahead and remove this right away to where they don't get just completely soaked. And this Bickmore saddle soap that I'm using has some lanolin oil, which is really good, puts a lot of conditioning back into that leather. And there is some other products you could use to condition your leather as well. But this one is a really good when you're cleaning them. Really want to take care of this back part right here. This puts just wearing your boots every day puts a lot of wear right in that area, so you just want to make sure you get that fairly well. All right, now that that boot is drying, what I'm going to go ahead and do is work on the other one. I'm going to do one more pass real quick on these. And it won't hurt if you were to leave the saddle soap on there at all. Just let it sit on there and then reapply and then take it off. But for time's sake, I am going to remove this so I can go ahead and apply the second one. These boots really were pretty dusty, but this will definitely do the trick. So. one, and what I'm going to be using is a dark burgundy cream. It's up to you on how you want your finished product to look like, but what I'm going to do, since there's a lot of scratches on the toes, I'm going to go with a dark burgundy, and then I'm going to finish up with a black Lincoln wax polish. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. What I do like about the cream polish, and I use cream polish a lot, is it really does still put a lot of conditioning properties back inside that leather. So, and I'm just going to put very little to start off with. You don't want to put too much. Alright, so that is all I'm going to do to this one. I'm going to hit that toe one more time. And you want to just make sure that you do the same thing to the other boot. So let's go ahead and move on over to that one. This black cherry is a really, really nice color on the boot. And me using a dark burgundy will darken it up just a little bit. Especially putting the Lincoln stain wax. Hit up that toe and then finish these up. And I am using the Tarago cream polish. For the price, I have found that it does an excellent job. So, all right. So. get a little bit of friction going, get this really set in on the leather. All right, we are looking at a pretty big difference here. All right. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is apply that wax, stain wax polish. I'm going to darken the toe a little bit, and what that's going to do is really hide those scratches because it's going to put a dark stain back into that leather. And what I like about Lincoln Stain Wax is it really penetrates that leather. That leather will really take this in. So, alright, so here we go. The other good thing about stain wax is it really protects the weather, the boot from different types of weather. Puts a really high shine on it as well. So since I'm doing this to the toe, I'm going to do it to the heel as well. And I don't want to put too much right here around where the creasing goes, when the normal creasing area of the boot, because what happens is when that wax cools off, like when you put your boots on in the morning, you might see some cracking. So now I'm going to do the heel area. You can see it's got some pretty mean scratches here, so we're just gonna rub this in as much as we can. Alright, now let's go ahead and work on the heel. So after I get these all shined up, we're going to throw these into our Selling Our Souls online store. I'm going to put a link down below to where you guys can check out that store. I believe these are a 10.5 extra wide. But if that is not your size, no worries, I have plenty of inventory. Depending on when you watch this video, these might not be available. Usually boots like this don't last very long. But a lot of our inventory we get from shoe drives. So I work with different organizations, and a lot of these organizations need money. So what I do is I set up a shoe drive for these organizations, and then a shoe drive usually lasts about a month. And then after the shoe drive is done, I'll go in there and I will pick up all the shoes, and depending on the weight of the shoes and whether they have designer shoes or not, I'll write them a check, and that's how I acquire a lot of inventory. But I would say over 80% of the shoes that we acquire, we donate to the homeless here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So kind of give you the backstory behind all these different types of boots. So I'm going to let this sit. I'm going to go back over to the other boot, and let's go ahead and shine these up. And the name of our shoe drive business is Footwear Fund. So yeah, I'll leave a link down below as well to that. And anybody who's watching this video, if you're a part of any type of organization and you guys want to do a fundraiser, let me know. All right, so I am going to go ahead and hit this. And the most important thing is to apply about the same amount of polish to each boot. You don't want one looking darker than the other. And I know this was the left boot was worn a little bit more, so I'm going to try my hardest to get them looking similar. So let's go ahead and get some friction on these, and that will set this into the leather and get a nice shine on them. I am going to just rub in just a little bit, not a lot. When you're applying this, you don't want to put a whole lot at one time. So, going to let that sit for a second. This one looks good. All we have to do is edge dress them, and then we are good to go. So let's go ahead and for the edge dressing, I could go ahead and do it on these mounts, but I'm going to go ahead and do a close-up, so I'm going to bring them back to the desk and give you some close-up. Alright, so just brought them in the office, and now what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and touch up the midsoles here. So, and what I use is the Feebings leather and sole heel edge dressing. They make this in black and in brown. This one is black, so this is what we're going to do, and I'm going to go into detail about this. So this stuff is very runny, so you want to be careful. You want to wring it out as much as you can before applying it, because it will just run all the way down. So you want to use gravity, and you don't want to apply it upside down like this. So you want to turn the boot like this and then apply it like that. You want to go the same way. You don't want to, just circle it. You want to just keep it in the same way, because it will dry and leave streaks if you're not careful. Just like that. And there are a lot of times where I go over and do a second coat. So. Now, it's not the end of the world if you get it on this upper leather. You want to be really careful, especially when you're working with suede, because it's not going to just rub right off on suede. But you definitely want to have a towel or a rag next to you just in case you get it on the uppers. I'm going to go ahead and apply this and go around one more time. I am sorry, I just now noticed that I left the air conditioner on. That's going to be really annoying. Let me go ahead and turn that off real quick. Alright, and while this is drying, I'm going to go ahead and do the other one. And there are times where I have to come back and touch it up. And like I said at the beginning of this video, and I'm going to say this in a lot of my videos, I'm really taking my time. I've been doing this for a long time, so I could do this fairly fast, but I am taking my time to kind of show in detail what I'm doing. There we go. Now I'm going to go check the other one. Now, if these are your personal boots and you put this edge dressing on, I mean, if you put it on a regular basis, you're not going to have to do several coats. But I could just tell that these were missing it for a while. So I can see where it was drying. So now on the last coat, I want to make sure that this isn't really wet, just to where I can smooth out all of those streaks, if that makes sense. Just like that. And since this channel is pretty new, please, or even if it wasn't, I really don't care, give me some suggestions. Hit me up with the comments, any recommendations, any questions, any type of video you guys want to watch that you want me to do, just let me know. And then the saddle soap will put a lot of conditioner into the leather uppers, and then adding the cream polish, which will then darken the boot a little bit, condition the leather, and will also put a really nice shine on top of that leather. And then finishing up with a stain wax polish to hide a lot of the toe scuffs. So I kind of customized these as I went, depending on what was needed. And then at the very end, just doing the edge dressing, which I do on every pair of shoes. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Like this video if you got something out of it. Like I said, I left links down below of everything that I used. If there's anything that you would use, hit up in the comments. I'm curious what else I could be using. And there we go. So here is the finished product of these Lucchese 2000 black cherry. Now they're a little bit darker, and Lucchese 2000 roper boots. Thank you, guys.